Hello, welcome to my channel or welcome back. Today's video is about the new moon in Taurus, which will be April 27th at 3:31 p.m. Eastern Time. This new moon is at 7 degrees and 47 minutes, and it's squaring Mars and squaring Pluto, so we have a T-square. Now I'm going to give an overview of this energy from this new moon, and then I will go ahead and give some horoscopes. And then we'll round out with a short meditation with some oracle and tarot cards. So I invite you to subscribe to the channel if you like this sort of content. I'm here for every new moon and full moon, solar eclipse and lunar eclipse, and some transits in between. So please go ahead and share, like, subscribe. All right, so let's get into this. This Taurus new moon is about emotional stability and well-being, as it's tied to our material stability and available resources. So we're getting new information in some form that helps us determine if what we are attached to is sustainable or still truly holds any value for us, any intrinsic value. Now that's a deep question. It could present itself as a question of how to do without something or some things. Now this is in the first decan of Taurus, ruled by Mercury, and it's called the Lord of Worry, and it's associated with the Five of Pentacles in the tarot. The Five of Pentacles is the combined energy of the Magician and the Hierophant. Collectively, this can be a loss of government resources, for example, due to power plays and manipulation tactics. Now, Pluto is the higher octave of Mars. Mars brings us action and change, and Pluto brings disruption to the collective consciousness. So for the next 6 months, as it pertains to this new moon, we're learning how to adapt to change that's outside of our control and how to persevere and endure through losses that may be due to volatility. In the coming 6 months, we'll be collectively detaching from material resources and opening up to a new way of viewing self-worth. This is also the work of Neptune in Aries, which I will dive into in a more practical way a little later on into that transit, so look out for that video. Net worth is not equal to self-worth. Now, this quote I heard at some point in my life some years ago has stayed with me, and it feels very relevant at this time. Net worth is not equal to self-worth. The moon is exalted in Taurus. It's a very sensual, luxurious place for her. So sacrificing comfort isn't easy for her here. There can be a lot of tension arising at the idea of giving up life's luxuries because they are deeply woven into the self-worth and the values. So in a practical sense, we're going to be thinking about financial management. Is it time to consolidate some material resources or debts? Is it time to introduce a budget that helps you save more to prepare for any surprises? So are you saving 1 month to 6 months or however many of your expenses you can afford to do, like what's feasible for you right now? Is it time to consider moving to a location with a more affordable cost of living? Is it time to learn how to start growing your own food? Is it time to tap into your community for resources that you can no longer access or provide for yourself? With the Five of Pentacles, we learn how to be resilient in times of temporary hardship. We learn how to take care of one another. The blessing, I believe, in this shift that's happening right now is that we get to build community again. I'm also expecting to see a lot of people considering returning to religious or community spaces that are more structured, like we see in the Hierophant. And I recently had a conversation about this with someone close to me who was thinking about that. How can we build community that's a departure from the harmful aspects of the traditional church, but maintains some of the positive teachings and the overall understanding that it takes a village? People are already out there doing this, but maybe we'll see more examples of it closer to us in the coming 6 months. I also think about this with the Five of Pentacles. When you feel desperately in need of resources, that's when people are at their most vulnerable and can easily be misguided by those who use words to manipulate energy. And you have the Magician and the Hierophant. Now, Ebertson also described Pluto as the representative of people who have a magical influence over the masses, such as politicians. Let that sink in. Remember, Pluto is squaring this full moon. Remember, Pluto is squaring this new moon, so it's very relevant here. But also, desperation can force people to lean more into their trickster energy, i.e. the Magician, in order to get what they need from organizations or structures and systems represented by the Hierophant. So it can really go in many different directions. Those are just some things to pay attention to. Now, with the Five of Pentacles, it doesn't mean you sacrifice all comfort in life and learn to be ascetic. You can dive more into simple pleasures, though. The ones that don't cost much or anything at all. The walks in the park, the long, hot, steamy showers with dangling eucalyptus plants or essential oils dropped on the flower floor, or essential oil drops on the shower floor. The healthy meals cooked at home with love instead of delivered. Though I'm not knocking delivery, it keeps people employed. The Pilates or Zumba class that takes place in your living room instead of at the studio, if that's something that doesn't feel accessible in this moment. You can make those little lavender towels in the comfort of your own home with some essential oils, pop that washcloth in the fridge, and recreate that studio experience. If you know, you know. So we're going to do some reflection and meditation with Oracle and Tarot around this new moon. But first, I want to give some horoscopes specific to where the new moon is happening in your chart and from which houses it's receiving the energy of Pluto and Mars. These are based on the rising sign, if you use the whole sign house system. Otherwise, if you use another house system, just go by the house where Taurus falls in your chart. Also, I invite you to listen to your sun and moon sign horoscopes as well. If you know your chart well, go deeper and personalize this. Figure out what makes the most sense or feels most useful for you, and use that to guide your intention setting. New moons are potent times to plant seeds of intention and watch them grow over the next 6 months, when we'll see the full moon in Taurus. Additionally, I'll post journal prompts for each rising sign or Taurus house. So let's get into these horoscopes. If you are Taurus rising or you have Taurus in your first house of personal motivations, physical body, appearance, health, and vitality, you may be thinking about the sacrifices you make in order to be viewed as successful, or with the hopes of gaining or maintaining social status. You might be called to lead and be given a position of power that brings with it pressure from family members. There will likely be a shift in how people view you in the coming 6 months. Just observe their reactions and responses to you. What can you do with that feedback? Any fears around how you're viewed in the public sphere, in your career, in the work you put out into the world, in your family, are going to be reflected in your self-concept. Changes in the family dynamic may require that you step up and show your resourcefulness in a new way that motivates you and pushes you past these insecurities. If you are Aries rising or you have Taurus in your second house of personal values, money, possessions, income, assets, and anything that sustains you in a material sense, something new may come up around your income, perhaps a new work opportunity or a new motivation to budget. This could involve children, your social network, or a new goal you have that you need to save for, like a dream vacation. You may be thinking about and planning for your future and realizing that you might have to let go of certain connections that are hindering your financial growth or negatively impacting your self-worth. If you are Pisces rising or have Taurus in your third house of siblings, cousins, spoken and written communications, local travel and modes of transportation, neighbors and neighborhoods, You may be trying to navigate conversations with community members, siblings, or other relatives and figure out some ways to balance responsibilities and financial burdens. There may be stress around letting go of past patterns or relinquishing some of your own power. You might have a conversation around inherited health issues. You might have to address the imbalance in a power dynamic that you've been avoiding talking about. You might feel energized to go to a town hall and share your ideas and criticisms about local transportation issues that impact you and how you get around town. You might be working to gather community resources. If you are an Aquarius rising or have Taurus in your fourth house of family, especially the father, ancestry, land and property, and your physical home and final endings, you might be starting something for the last time. Like you might be picking up and moving to a permanent home where you're laying down roots. Speaking candidly about your relationships and power dynamics in your home environment will allow you to get to the root of any lingering issues. There is tension between you and an important person in your life, but you can make it productive. You're in a position to assert yourself, vocalize your needs, and begin to bring more comfort and stability into your home life. You may go through something in the next 6 months that helps you process a burden from your childhood that needed to be released in order for you to make room for an important new relationship that wants to come in and to feel truly comfortable in your skin. If you're a Capricorn rising or have Taurus in your fifth house of fun, children, pregnancy, recreation, love affairs, and romance, you and a partner may be in a disagreement over your shared resources and how much of your budget is going toward caring for or planning for children or towards recreational activities. If one of you contributes more while the other spends more, can you both discuss the value that a little playtime for both people brings into the relationship? Now, if you're single, you could just be trying to tackle your debt while also trying to figure out which of those simple pleasures or recreational activities you can hold on to and which are no longer sustainable right now. If you are Sagittarius rising or have Taurus in your sixth house of stress, service, health concerns, the daily grind, employees, tenants, and pets, there's some new energy coming into your daily routine and how you interact with people in your environment. This could come through tension around religious or philosophical ideology or pertain to an intensive research project you're doing where you need to get interviews with people, for example. You might be going around your neighborhood and getting people to sign petitions against gentrification projects. This could be around discussions in some course of study if you're in a classroom setting as well. You may be relocating abroad and having to go through the daily stress of navigating life in a new language and a new culture while you're still going through this adjustment period. If you're a Scorpio rising or have Taurus in your seventh house of significant others, consultants, partnerships, contracts, lawsuits, open enemies, and the public, you might be welcoming in some new ideas around your relationship with the significant other, a new contract, or a new way of engaging with the public. You might have a lot of activity around your career, but this could be to the dismay of a partner who feels you have obligations at home that you're neglecting. Alternatively, you might be called to loosen your grip and allow a partner to take the reins at home while you navigate these career dynamics. If you're a Libra rising or have Taurus in your eighth house of debt, sex, taxes, joint finances, transformation, and occult studies, you may be taking a casual fling to the next level of intimacy. Be mindful of your own fears around intimacy or loss of it at this time. You might have shared creative work, including children, baby making, that requires a new approach when it comes to your finances, how you approach your taxes, and also bring deep transformation to your lifestyle and your resources. This could lead you to seek innovative approaches at work in an effort to secure your position or your future within an organization. You might join a new network of people who are into the occult. You might be speaking to an audience from a new position of power, sharing your intimate creative works to an online or an in-person audience. If you're a Virgo rising or have Taurus in your ninth house of higher education, international travel, religion, philosophy, law, foreign interest, and culture, you might be thinking of a new course of study or gathering ideas around a trip you would like to take. Perhaps a wellness retreat is on your mind. You could be working through frustrations and stress around a lack of recognition for your efforts at work or in some service that you're doing for others. You might be dealing with the painful awareness of long-standing beliefs that have led to self-sabotaging behaviors you need to break away from, particularly around habits that impact your health and daily productivity. You might be thinking of the value of your educational pursuits in terms of your lifestyle, like how comfortable you are, and the social status that you have based on the work that you do. You could be more aware of your overall standing in the world. Maybe you want to escape to a foreign land where your social status will be completely different. This could also be the start of a legal matter or work that deals with marginalized or vulnerable communities. If you are a Leo rising or have Taurus in your 10th house of career status, honors, public standing, and reputation, you might have a new opportunity in your career or receive some attention in something you're doing publicly. This could cause some uneasiness or nervousness within you, but you also have a lot of drive and initiative at this time, and you're no stranger to attention. However, the increase in attention could create tension in a significant relationship if a partner feels like they're losing control of or access to you. You'll have to be mindful of ego-driven decisions around this time and be open to seeing the truth about yourself through the perspective of those closest to you. If you are a Cancer rising or have Taurus in your 11th house of friends, social networks, hopes and wishes, and group involvements, you may have new energy coming into a friend group or social network over the coming 6 months. This could be a new coworker or a shift in a relationship with a current coworker. There is a potential for a secret office romance here. On another note, the opportunity to learn about the relationship between your net worth and self-worth here. You could take a look at your debt-to-income ratio and get a loud wake-up call. How is your social group influencing your spending habits? If you are a Gemini rising or have Taurus in your 12th house of solitude, spirituality, confinement, hospitalization, secret enemies, and self-sabotaging behaviors, you may feel a little withdrawn in the coming 6 months as you ponder some of your idiosyncrasies. But this is challenged by your simultaneous desire to speak your mind and to assert yourself with your siblings or within your community. Just be mindful that you aren't dominating conversations or starting arguments for the sake of arguing. Take breaks and nurture yourself through quiet reflection and meditation when you feel your energy start to go haywire. Right now, there is a powerful transformation beginning in your worldview, your belief systems, and you have a lot to contribute to this conversation. Just remain receptive to others' perspectives as well. Now I invite you to close your eyes and relax as we receive messages from 3 goddesses of the world. The first message comes from Laka, Hawaiian goddess of beauty, dance, and music. She represents the vibrant expression of creativity and the transformative power of the arts, beauty, harmony, self-expression, celebration, joy. Taurus embodies these themes. It's about the sensual experience. Imagine yourself completely relaxed, dancing, smiling, singing freely. What would it look like to express your joy daily? Remember what it's like to be happy, to feel supported. What reasons do you have to sing and dance in this very moment? Take a few breaths to reflect upon how you've expressed joy in the past and how you imagine joy for your future self. The next message comes from Oshun, the Yoruba goddess of love, beauty, sensuality, abundance, fertility, sweet waters. She's a patroness of love and relationships, the arts, prosperity and joy, honey and sweets. Imagine a relationship where you trust another with your emotional well-being, where challenges are met with compassion and understanding, where there is no upper hand, just equal give and take, equal understanding, unity. How do you love yourself unapologetically, acknowledge your worth, and walk away when people treat you less than you deserve? Release relationships filled with envy and feelings of inferiority. Take a few breaths to reflect on what fruitful relationships have felt like in the past. How do you want to feel in your relationships moving forward? The final message comes from Ine Noi Tepo, the Maori goddess of the night, darkness, and the underworld. Themes tied to Taurus's opposite sign, Scorpio, and the planet Pluto. The natural cycle of life, death, and rebirth, a transition from the physical to the spiritual realm. These are the themes of Ine Noi Tepo. Saying goodbye to the parts of you that are no longer needed in your spiritual journey is not easy, but it's necessary. Complete trust and submission to spirit requires that you forgive and release your past. Your suffering is coming to an end only with your acceptance and participation in creating the new version of yourself that's waiting to emerge. Take a few breaths and reflect on how you have sacrificed yourself in the past and how you will prioritize yourself from this moment forward. Feel free to enjoy the final moments in quiet meditation or pondering the reflection questions in the comments section. Happy New Moon. I'll see you in the next one.